The story begins on the fiery world of Muspelheim, where Thor is being held in chains. Thor explains that after saving Earth a couple of times like any good hero would, he set out on a mission to track down the Infinity Stones following the Battle of Sokovia. But despite all his efforts, he came up empty-handed. Eventually, the fire demon Surtur captured him and imprisoned him here. Wanting to talk, Surtur lowers Thor down in a hanging cage. Thor tells him, "I thought Odin, my father, killed you 5,000 years ago." Surtur replies that Odin defeated him thousands of years ago, but never managed to kill him. Instead, Odin took away the eternal flame, the source of his power, and imprisoned him on this world. Now that Odin is no longer in Asgard, Surtur plans to reclaim the eternal flame. Once the flame and his crown are reunited, his power will reach its full potential. He'll grow into a giant, unstoppable force and fulfill the prophecy of Ragnarok by destroying all of Asgard. And according to him, Thor won't be able to stop it because he's trapped here. Listening carefully, Thor realizes that the key to preventing Ragnarok is simple: defeat Surtur and take his crown before the prophecy can come true. Without wasting any time, Thor summons Mjolnir. The hammer crashes into his hand, shattering his chains and setting him free. Surtur's fire demons immediately charge at him, but Thor tears through them one after another with ease. Seeing his army fall, Surtur attacks personally. Thor dodges his strikes, lands several powerful blows, and defeats him. He then removes Surtur's crown, planning to lock it away in Odin's vault, so the Ragnarok prophecy can never be fulfilled. But suddenly, the remaining fire demons swarm toward him. Their attack accidentally frees a massive fire dragon. Realizing things are getting out of control, Thor makes a run for it. Unfortunately, the dragon isn't about to let him escape and quickly starts chasing him down. Thor calls out for Heimdall to open the Bifrost, but there's no answer. The reason is that Heimdall is no longer guarding the Bifrost bridge. His position has been given to Scourge. At that moment, Scourge is busy trying to impress two women by showing off all the benefits of controlling the Bifrost. He brags that with the Bifrost, he can travel anywhere across the 9 realms and collect treasures from every corner of the universe. He proudly shows off a collection of items he brought back during his travels. Just then, one of the women hears Thor shouting through the Bifrost and tells Scourge that something is calling for help. Scourge quickly inserts the sword Hofund and activates the Bifrost. At the exact moment the fire dragon is about to swallow Thor whole, the Bifrost pulls him away. Thor arrives back in Asgard along with the dragon's severed head. The women are completely terrified by the sight. Thor immediately asks Scourge where Heimdall is. Scourge explains that Heimdall was declared a traitor after Odin accused him of neglecting his duties. Because of that, Heimdall fled, and nobody knows where he is now. Scourge adds that finding him is practically impossible since Heimdall could see everything. After hearing this, Thor heads toward the royal palace. On the way, he notices something unbelievable: a gigantic statue of Loki standing proudly outside. Thor can hardly believe his eyes. When he enters the palace, things get even stranger. A dramatic stage play is being performed that reenacts Loki's so-called heroic death, while Odin sits back and enjoys every second of it. Thor hands Surtur's crown to a guard and orders him to place it inside the vault. Then he tells Odin that he's been having disturbing visions of Asgard's destruction. Odin casually dismisses the warning and says it's nothing more than a bad dream. That response immediately confirms Thor's suspicion. He realizes that Loki has been impersonating Odin the entire time. Thor throws Mjolnir past him, forcing Loki to reveal his true form before the hammer returns. The people of Asgard are shocked. Loki turns to Scourge and angrily complains that he gave him one simple job and he still managed to mess it up. Thor then demands to know where Odin really is. Loki takes him to Earth, to the location of a retirement home where he had left Odin. But when they arrive, they discover that the entire building has already been demolished. Loki tells Thor that this is where he left him. Thor becomes furious. He reminds Loki that everyone believed he had died, and they actually mourned his death. Before the argument can go any further, Loki suddenly vanishes because of a powerful spell cast by Doctor Strange. Thor has no idea what just happened. Then he notices something strange. A card containing the address of the New York Sanctum has mysteriously appeared, pointing him toward Doctor Strange. Thor follows the address and arrives at the New York Sanctum, where he comes face to face with Doctor Strange. Strange explains that he keeps track of individuals and aliens who could potentially become threats to Earth, and Loki happens to be very high on that list. Thor replies that Loki usually ends up on every bad list imaginable, but they're only here to find their father, Odin. As soon as they find him, they'll leave Earth. Strange tells Thor that Odin chose to live in isolation, but he knows exactly where to find him. Odin is currently in Norway. However, once they locate him, Thor and Loki must leave Earth immediately. Thor agrees. Using a strand of Thor's hair, Doctor Strange opens a portal leading directly to Odin. He then returns Loki, who is furious. Loki angrily complains that he's been falling through magical portals for the last 30 minutes and swears he's not letting Strange get away with it. He charges toward him, but before he can do anything, Strange opens another portal and sends both brothers straight to Norway. There, they finally find Odin. Odin tells them that he has been expecting them and that there is something important they need to know. He reveals the existence of Thor's older sister, Hela, the goddess of death. Long ago, Hela wanted to conquer the entire universe. When Odin tried to stop her, she refused to listen. Left with no choice, he imprisoned her. He explains that Hela draws her power from Asgard itself. If she ever returns there, she will become nearly unstoppable. Thor confidently says that together they can defeat her, but Odin sadly shakes his head. For all these years, his very life force has been keeping Hela imprisoned. Now his time has come, and he can no longer hold her back. He says that Thor's mother is calling him, and that whatever happens next is now up to his sons. Before disappearing, Odin tells them to remember this place because it is their true home. Moments later, Odin transforms into pure energy and fades away. Thor immediately blames Loki for everything that has happened. But with Odin gone, Hela's prison finally breaks. A dark portal opens, and Hela appears before them. She calmly orders Thor and Loki to kneel before their queen. That demand instantly angers Thor. He hurls Mjolnir straight at her. To his shock, Hela catches the hammer with one hand. Then, with almost no effort, she crushes Mjolnir into pieces. Thor can hardly believe what he's seeing. Hela tells him that he has no idea what is truly possible. She then summons her deadly necroswords and prepares to attack. Terrified, Loki quickly calls for the Bifrost. The bridge appears and begins transporting him and Thor back toward Asgard, but Hela follows them. The two brothers try to stop her during the journey, but Hela easily overpowers them and knocks both of them out of the Bifrost stream. As soon as Hela arrives in Asgard, she kills Thor's friends Volstagg and Fandral without hesitation. Watching this, Scourge immediately drops to one knee and surrenders. He nervously explains that he's basically just a janitor. Hela smirks and tells him that he's smarter than he looks. Instead of killing him, she recruits him to serve at her side. Meanwhile, Thor crashes onto a strange planet called Sakaar. Everywhere he looks, there's nothing but mountains of junk and scrap. Massive wormholes constantly dump garbage from different worlds onto the planet, turning it into the universe's largest trash heap. Not long after arriving, a group of scavengers spots Thor and decides to capture him. Thor tries to fight back, but without Mjolnir, he's at a major disadvantage. The scavengers trap him in an electric net and begin beating him. Just then, a ship lands nearby. A heavily intoxicated woman stumbles out. Her name is Valkyrie. She tells the scavengers that Thor belongs to her. When they ignore her and attack, Valkyrie opens fire with her ship's weapons and wipes them out in seconds. Thor thanks her for saving his life. Unfortunately, Valkyrie isn't interested in gratitude. She tosses a small electric disc onto Thor's neck. The device shocks him and instantly knocks him unconscious. With her new prisoner secured, Valkyrie takes Thor away so she can sell him. Back in Asgard, Hogun arrives with the full Asgardian army to stand against Hela. Hela announces that Odin is dead and reveals that she is his firstborn child, the rightful heir to the throne, and the true goddess of death. She explains that long ago she and Odin were the most powerful force in the universe. Together they conquered countless worlds, and no one could stand against them. But eventually Odin abandoned those ambitions and chose peace over conquest. Hela, however, never gave up her dream of ruling everything. She declares that she will reclaim that power and restore Asgard's dominance across the cosmos. Then she gives the Asgardians a choice: kneel before her and join her army. Hogun refuses. Instead, he steps forward and attacks. That decision only makes Hela angry. With terrifying speed, she unleashes her necroswords and slaughters the entire Asgardian army, one soldier at a time. After wiping out the Asgardian army, Hela brings Scourge back to the palace. There, she reveals the truth about her past. She explains that she and Odin once conquered the 9 realms together. With Hela by his side, Odin built Asgard into a powerful empire. But when her ambitions grew beyond even Odin's, he turned against her and imprisoned her. Hela also explains that Odin honored the warriors who fought beside them. Their remains were buried beneath the palace itself. She then leads Scourge into Odin's vault, where the eternal flame is being kept. Using the eternal flame, Hela resurrects her entire fallen army along with her massive wolf, Fenris. With her army restored, she plans to conquer the entire universe once again. Meanwhile, Heimdall's incredible vision allows him to see everything that's happening. Realizing the danger Asgard is in, he sneaks to the Bifrost and steals Hofland, the sword that controls the bridge. She tells Scourge that she once served as Odin's executioner, and from now on, he will serve as hers. After handing him a weapon, Hela marches toward the Bifrost with her undead army, ready to begin conquering new worlds. But when she arrives, she discovers that Hofland is missing. Furious, she orders Scourge to gather every loyal soldier and hunt down the rebels. She reminds him that without the sword, the Bifrost cannot be activated. Meanwhile, on Sakaar, Valkyrie delivers Thor to the Grandmaster. The Grandmaster is the ruler of Sakaar, a bizarre and eccentric tyrant who loves watching gladiator battles. Valkyrie's job is to capture powerful fighters for his arena, which is why everyone knows her as Scrapper 142. The moment the Grandmaster sees Thor, he realizes he's looking at an incredibly valuable fighter. He happily purchases Thor from Valkyrie and adds him to the arena roster. Thor is furious at Valkyrie for selling him, but there isn't much he can do since he's strapped to a chair. That's when he notices someone familiar. Loki is standing nearby. Relieved to see his brother alive, Thor immediately asks him for help, but Loki refuses. He explains that when he arrived on Sakaar, he spent weeks earning the Grandmaster's trust and becoming one of his favorites. He's not willing to throw all of that away. Thor is confused. How could you have been here for weeks, he asks. The Grandmaster explains that time works differently on Sakaar. Because of the strange wormholes surrounding the planet, people can arrive at completely different points in time. Then the Grandmaster asks Loki if he knows Thor. Loki casually replies that Thor is his adopted brother. The Grandmaster tells Thor that if he wants his freedom and a chance to return to Asgard, he'll have to fight the arena's undefeated champion. If he wins, he'll be set free. Having no other choice, Thor agrees. The Grandmaster sends him to the gladiator quarters to prepare for the next day's battle. There, Thor meets Korg and Meek. Thor immediately recognizes Korg as a Cronin and asks how he ended up on Sakaar. Korg explains that he tried to start a revolution on his home world, but the rebellion failed, and he was sent here. Even now, he's still trying to organize another revolution. Thor spends some time looking for a way to escape, but quickly discovers that the entire place is basically an enormous maze. Korg then warns him about the Grandmaster's champion. According to him, nobody has ever defeated the champion. Every fighter who has challenged him has either lost or died. That's why Korg sticks to smaller fights and focuses more on entertaining the crowd. Thor confidently replies that he'll beat the champion, win his freedom, and get back to Asgard. Later, Thor sits alone thinking about Odin and everything that has happened. Suddenly, Loki appears using one of his illusions. Loki tells Thor that he can't risk ruining his relationship with the Grandmaster. However, he believes the Grandmaster could be manipulated. Loki suggests that instead of returning to Asgard, they should work together, gain influence, and eventually take control of Sakaar themselves. Thor has absolutely no interest in the idea. Seeing that Thor isn't listening, Loki reminds him how powerful Hela is. He points out that she destroyed Mjolnir with her bare hands and argues that returning to Asgard is hopeless. But Thor refuses to give up. Later, Thor is taken to choose weapons for the upcoming battle. While there, he notices something on Valkyrie's arm. It's the symbol of the Valkyries, the legendary group of elite female warriors who once protected Asgard. Realizing who she is, Thor tells her that Asgard is in grave danger and desperately needs her help. Valkyrie ignores him and starts walking away. Thor pushes harder and accuses her of abandoning her people. He tells her that she ran away from the battlefield like a coward. That finally gets a reaction. Valkyrie turns around and coldly replies that this isn't Asgard anymore. This is Sakaar. Before Thor can say anything else, several guards arrive and drag him away to prepare for the arena battle. As part of the preparation, they shave off his long hair and get him ready to face the Grandmaster's mysterious champion. Next, we're taken to the Grandmaster's arena, where thousands of spectators have gathered to watch the big match. Thor is brought into the arena, ready to face the Grandmaster's undefeated champion. To Thor's complete surprise, it's none other than Hulk. Seeing his old friend alive, Thor is thrilled. He had believed Hulk was gone for good. Excited, Thor starts trying to talk to him, but he makes one huge mistake. He calls him Banner. The moment Hulk hears that name, he gets furious. He charges at Thor and starts pounding him into the ground. Thor keeps trying to reason with him, but Hulk refuses to listen and continues attacking. As the fight goes on, Thor begins to remember the lessons his father taught him. Something awakens inside him, and his power starts growing. Soon, the two Avengers are locked in an incredible battle. The crowd goes wild as Thor and Hulk trade devastating blows across the arena. To everyone's surprise, Thor slowly begins gaining the upper hand. When the Grandmaster realizes his champion might actually lose, he secretly activates the obedience disc implanted in Thor. A powerful shock hits Thor, instantly knocking him unconscious. The crowd erupts in cheers as Hulk is declared the winner. Meanwhile, back on Asgard, Hela's soldiers continue searching for Hofund. While hunting for the missing sword, they begin chasing a group of Asgardian civilians. Just before the soldiers can catch them, Heimdall arrives and saves everyone. He escorts them to a hidden refuge known as the Ancestors' Stronghold, an ancient fortress where he has secretly sheltered nearly half of Asgard's population. Back on Sakaar, Thor eventually wakes up inside Hulk's luxurious living quarters. Hulk is relaxing and enjoying all the rewards that come with being the Grandmaster's champion. Thor asks how he ended up on Sakaar. In response, Hulk shows him the Quinjet he used to escape after the Avengers battle years ago. The moment Thor sees the ship, he realizes there might actually be a way off the planet. He immediately starts trying to convince Hulk to help him return to Asgard. Thor explains that Ragnarok is coming and that his world is in danger. He promises that if Hulk helps him get back to Asgard, he'll help him return to Earth afterward. But Hulk has no interest in going back to Earth. He likes being the champion of Sakaar and tells Thor that he's staying right where he is. With no other option, Thor decides he'll have to escape alone. Unfortunately, the obedience disc is still attached to his neck, making escape nearly impossible. Desperate for answers, Thor reaches out to Heimdall. Through Heimdall's powers, Thor receives a vision of Asgard. He sees Heimdall protecting the surviving citizens and hiding them inside the ancient fortress. Heimdall warns that if Hela's forces discover their location, they'll be forced to abandon Asgard completely. He also explains that Hela's power continues growing stronger every day. If she isn't stopped soon, she'll eventually threaten far more than just Asgard. The vision ends, and Thor returns to reality. Now even more determined, he tries removing the obedience disc from his neck. No matter what he does, he can't get it off. At that moment, Hulk starts bothering him. Frustrated, Thor tells Hulk that nobody likes him because he's always angry. The comment clearly hurts Hulk's feelings. Realizing he went too far, Thor apologizes and asks Hulk for a favor. He wants Hulk to bring Valkyrie to him since the two have become close friends on Sakaar. When Valkyrie arrives, Thor tries once again to convince her to help save Asgard. He tells her that Odin is dead and that Hela, the goddess of death, has taken control of the realm. Thor explains that he's putting together a team to stop her, but Valkyrie still refuses. As she turns to leave, Thor stops her and asks how a legendary Valkyrie warrior ended up hiding on Sakaar. For the first time, Valkyrie opens up about her past. She explains that Hela's power comes directly from Asgard. Long ago, when Hela's strength became too great, she tried to seize Odin's throne by force. Odin responded by sending the Valkyries to stop her. The mission turned into a massacre. Hela slaughtered nearly every Valkyrie warrior. Valkyrie survived only because one of her closest comrades sacrificed herself to save her. Since that day, she has wanted nothing to do with Asgard or its throne. Thor tells her he doesn't care about becoming king. In fact, he never wanted the throne at all. What matters to him is saving his people because innocent Asgardians are dying. Valkyrie coldly tells him to forget about the past, just like she did. What she doesn't realize is that while they were talking, Thor secretly tricked her into getting close enough for him to steal the remote control linked to his obedience disc. Grinning, Thor thanks her. Using the device, he finally deactivates the disc on his neck and removes it. He slips the controller into his pocket and tells Valkyrie that real heroes don't run away from their problems. Then without hesitation, he smashes through the window and escapes. Thor makes his way to the Quinjet and successfully powers it up. Since Tony Stark designed the aircraft for the Avengers, Thor already knows how to access its systems and get it running. Just as Thor is preparing to leave, Hulk suddenly arrives. He has no intention of letting Thor escape. The two friends start arguing, and Hulk ends up smashing the Quinjet, tearing it apart piece by piece. Realizing he can't stop Hulk by force, Thor plays an old video message from Natasha Romanoff. Thor knows that Bruce Banner cares deeply about Natasha, and hearing her voice triggers something inside Hulk. For the first time in years, Hulk transforms back into Bruce. Thor explains that Bruce has been stuck as Hulk ever since the Battle of Sokovia, and that Hulk has basically been in control of his body the entire time. Bruce is shocked. As far as he's concerned, the fight in Sokovia happened yesterday. He has absolutely no memory of the last 2 years. At that same moment, the Grand Master broadcasts an emergency alert across Sakaar. He announces that Thor has kidnapped his champion and orders everyone on the planet to help track them down. Thor explains to Bruce that the Grand Master has essentially kept him as a gladiator for the past 2 years. Then he gives Bruce some of Tony Stark's spare clothes and tells him to stay calm. Thor is worried that if Bruce transforms into Hulk again, he may never be able to become Bruce Banner afterward. Meanwhile, the Grand Master summons Loki and Valkyrie. He tells them that Thor has escaped with Hulk and orders them to bring him back no matter what. The two leave together. Along the way, Loki asks Valkyrie why she's helping Thor. Valkyrie insists that she's not helping anyone, but then Loki notices the Valkyrie insignia on her arm. With his usual sarcasm, he remarks that he heard all the Valkyries died like dogs. The comment immediately inflicts on her. Using one of her weapons, Valkyrie knocks Loki unconscious. Elsewhere, Thor and Bruce continue searching for a way back to Asgard. Suddenly, a dangerous creature attacks Bruce. Before things get out of hand, Valkyrie arrives and saves him. By now, she has decided to join Thor's mission. She takes both of them back to her hideout. What she doesn't realize is that Bruce Banner is actually the Hulk. There, Valkyrie admits that she spent years drowning herself in alcohol and trying to forget her past, but she can no longer keep running from who she is. This time, she's willing to fight. She then reveals that she captured Loki and has him tied up nearby. Thor is so surprised that he actually tosses something at Loki just to make sure he's real. Once everyone's together, Thor lays out a plan. He explains that they can use a massive wormhole known as the Devil's Anus to reach Asgard in only a few hours. Valkyrie points out one major problem. The wormhole is formed by the energy of a dying neutron star, meaning they'll need an incredibly durable ship to survive the trip. That's when Loki finally becomes useful. He tells them that the Grandmaster owns several ships capable of making the journey. More importantly, Loki knows the security codes needed to access them. In exchange for helping them escape, he wants a ride out of Sakaar because the Grandmaster is no longer happy with him. Bruce immediately objects. He reminds everyone that trusting Loki is usually a terrible idea. Thor agrees, but says he has another plan. He believes they can start a revolution that will create the perfect distraction. Thor explains the idea to Valkyrie. Soon after, Valkyrie frees Korg and all the other prisoners. Within minutes, a full-scale uprising breaks out across Sakaar. While the chaos spreads, Thor and Loki sneak into the chamber where the Grandmaster stores his ships. There, Loki shows him the Grandmaster's personal luxury vessel, the Commodore, one of the most powerful ships available. But just when everything seems to be going smoothly, Loki betrays Thor. He starts moving toward the alarm system, planning to alert security and hand Thor over to the Grandmaster. Unfortunately for Loki, Thor saw this coming. Earlier, he secretly attached an obedience disc to Loki's back. The moment Loki reaches for the alarm, Thor activates the disc. A powerful shock blasts through Loki's body, dropping him to the floor. Thor looks down at him and says that he'll always be the god of mischief, but he could have been so much more. Then Thor tosses the remote aside and leaves with the ship. When the Grandmaster discovers what's happening, he orders every available fighter and spacecraft to chase them down. Luckily, Valkyrie arrives just in time. She helps Bruce reach Thor's ship, and then turns around to fight off the pursuing forces herself. Seeing her outnumbered, Thor joins the battle. Together, Thor and Valkyrie destroy wave after wave of enemy ships. After winning the aerial fight, they return to the Commodore and set a course for Asgard through the Devil's Anus wormhole. Meanwhile, Korg and the escaped prisoners make their way into the ship chamber. There, they discover an enormous vessel capable of carrying everyone off the planet. While searching the area, Korg spots an obedience disc remote lying on the ground. Curious, he presses a button. The remote deactivates Loki's obedience disc, freeing him. Korg cheerfully invites Loki to come along with them, giving the god of mischief one more chance to join the team. Loki takes one look at the escaped prisoners and realizes they're completely unorganized. With a grin, he tells them that what they really need is a better leader. Before long, Loki ends up leading the group aboard a massive ship as they prepare to leave Sakaar. Meanwhile, back on Asgard, Hela is still searching for Hofund, the sword that controls the Bifrost, to force someone to reveal its location. She gathers the remaining Asgardians and begins executing civilians one by one through her executioner, Scourge. Just as another innocent woman is about to be killed, a frightened man steps forward. He claims to know where the sword is hidden. The man leads Hela to the ancient fortress where Heimdall has been sheltering the surviving citizens. Without hesitation, Hela begins smashing through the fortress gates. Fortunately, Heimdall had already seen this coming. Using his vision, he learned of her plan in advance and immediately starts evacuating everyone through a secret escape route. At the same time, Thor and his team successfully emerge from the Devil's Anus wormhole and finally return to Asgard. Their ship's scanners quickly detect Hela's location near the ancient fortress. Thor immediately comes up with a plan. He tells Valkyrie to drop him off at the palace. While he keeps Hela distracted, Valkyrie, Loki, Bruce, and the others can focus on rescuing the people of Asgard and getting them safely through the Bifrost. Valkyrie agrees. She drops Thor at the palace and heads off to help the civilians. Inside the throne room, Thor sits on the throne and repeatedly strikes Odin's spear Gungnir against the floor. The sound echoes throughout the palace, successfully getting Hela's attention. Moments later, she arrives. Hela tells Thor that she and Odin once conquered countless worlds together. Entire civilizations fell before them, and rivers of blood were spilled in their quest for power. But everything changed when Thor was born. According to Hela, Odin abandoned his ambitions and chose to become a peaceful ruler instead. Now that Odin is gone, Hela intends to reclaim everything she believes was stolen from her. Without another word, she attacks. A brutal battle erupts between brother and sister. Meanwhile, Heimdall continues leading the Asgardian survivors toward the Bifrost. He's hoping to get them off the realm before it's too late. But suddenly, Hela's undead army closes in from one side, while Fenris attacks from the other. The civilians are trapped. Seeing the danger, Valkyrie charges directly at Fenris. She fires everything she has, but the giant wolf barely notices. Fenris keeps advancing toward the helpless civilians. That's when Bruce Banner makes a desperate decision. He jumps from the ship and throws himself toward the battlefield. For a terrifying moment, it looks like he's made a terrible mistake. Then, just before hitting the ground, he transforms into Hulk. Valkyrie is stunned. she finally realizes that Bruce Banner and Hulk are the same person. Hulk immediately takes on Fenris, and the two monsters clash in an epic battle. At the same time, Hela's soldiers continue overwhelming the Asgardian people. Just when things seem hopeless, Loki arrives with Korg, Miek, and the escaped prisoners from Sakaar. Using the massive ship they stole, they begin loading Asgard's citizens aboard and evacuating them to safety. Back at the palace, Hela continues dominating her fight with Thor. She is simply too powerful. During the battle, she destroys one of Thor's eyes, leaving him badly wounded. Then she drags him toward a balcony and shows him the chaos unfolding across Asgard. Hela declares that sooner or later, she will recover Holfund, kill everyone who opposes her, and rule without challenge. As she continues beating him down, Thor suddenly finds himself in a vision with Odin. Thor tells his father that Hela is far too powerful. Without Mjolnir, he feels helpless. Odin calmly reminds him that the hammer was never the true source of his power. Mjolnir only helped him focus and control the strength that was already inside him. Then Odin asks a simple question: "Are you the god of hammers?" Thor immediately understands. He isn't the god of hammers, he's the god of thunder. Thor argues that it's already too late, because Helgen has taken Asgard. But Odin gives him one final lesson: Asgard isn't a place. Asgard is its people. As long as the people survive, Asgard survives with them. Those words finally unlock Thor's true potential. Lightning explodes around him as he unleashes the full power of the god of thunder. Thor crashes back into the battle surrounded by storms and devastating electricity. He blasts Hela across the palace and tears through her undead army with incredible power. The sight fills everyone with hope. Thor then joins Valkyrie, Hulk, Heimdall, and the others in fighting back against Hela's forces. Watching the tide turn, Scourge becomes terrified. Instead of standing with Hela, he disguises himself among the civilians and sneaks aboard the evacuation ship. Elsewhere, Hulk continues his battle with Fenris. After an intense fight, Hulk finally throws the giant wolf off a massive waterfall. Back on the battlefield, Thor wipes out the remaining undead soldiers. But even after all of that, Hela keeps coming. She is still growing stronger. Seeing this, Valkyrie tells Thor and Loki that they need to keep fighting until everyone escapes. Thor realizes that won't solve the problem. As long as Hela remains in Asgard, her power will continue increasing. Eventually, she'll find them no matter where they go. There is only one way to stop her: Ragnarok itself. Thor decides that the prophecy must be fulfilled. He reminds Loki that Surtur's crown is still locked away inside Odin's vault. If the crown is combined with the eternal flame, Surtur will be reborn in his full power. The giant fire demon will destroy both Hela and Asgard. Loki actually likes the idea. Without wasting any time, he heads toward the vault to bring Surtur back and set Ragnarok into motion. Hela immediately launches another attack on Thor and Valkyrie. Even though she's incredibly powerful, the two warriors stand their ground and fight back with everything they have. Meanwhile, Heimdall begins leading the evacuation ship away from Asgard. Just when it looks like everyone is finally going to escape, Hela uses her powers to stop the ship in midair. Her undead soldiers start boarding the vessel, putting all the surviving Asgardians in danger once again. Watching innocent people suffer finally pushes Scourge to make a choice. For the first time, he realizes he has a chance to become the hero he always wanted to be. Determined to protect the civilians, Scourge grabs his rifles and opens fire on Hela's army. One by one, he takes down the invading soldiers and buys the refugees enough time to escape. Thanks to his sacrifice, the ship breaks free from Hela's grip and safely gets away. Sadly, Hela kills Scourge moments later. At the same time, Loki reaches Odin's vault. He takes Surtur's crown and places it into the eternal flame. Before leaving, however, Loki can't resist taking one more thing. He secretly grabs the Tesseract and keeps it with him. As the eternal flame combines with Surtur's crown, the fire demon is reborn. His body rapidly grows larger and larger until he becomes a colossal giant towering over all of Asgard. For the first time, even Hela looks worried. Thor and Valkyrie take advantage of the moment and knock her off the bridge. Meanwhile, Hulk notices the giant Surtur and does what Hulk does best. He charges straight at him. Unfortunately, Surtur is far beyond anything Hulk has ever faced. With a single strike, Surtur swats Hulk away like an insect. Thor quickly tells Hulk that this isn't a fight they can win, and that they need to leave immediately. This time, Hulk actually listens. He retreats with Thor and helps everyone get back aboard the evacuation ship. Meanwhile, Hela desperately attacks Surtur, trying to stop him, but her powers are no match for his. Surtur fulfills the prophecy of Ragnarok exactly as foretold. He destroys Hela and brings the entire realm of Asgard crashing down around her. Watching his home being destroyed breaks Thor's heart, but Heimdall reminds him of something important. Thor didn't fail. He saved his people, and Asgard is not a place. Asgard is wherever its people choose to call home. Hearing those words helps Thor finally make peace with what happened. Now missing an eye and wearing an eye patch like his father before him, Thor fully embraces the responsibility he once tried to avoid. A little later, Loki joins the group. Thor looks at his brother and admits that maybe he's not as bad as everyone thinks. For the first time, Thor truly accepts his role as the king of Asgard. With the surviving Asgardians aboard their ship, they set a course for Earth in search of a new home, and that's where the movie comes to an end. In the mid-credits scene, Loki asks Thor an uncomfortable question. After everything he did during the invasion of New York, he wonders whether the people of Earth will actually welcome him back. Thor reassures him that things will work out. But before they can continue the conversation, an enormous spacecraft suddenly appears in front of them. The massive ship blocks their path completely. Neither Thor nor Loki knows it yet, but the vessel belongs to Thanos. And with that chilling reveal, the movie truly comes to an end.